Hi everyone, I'm Nisha Sharma. I am a young adult and an adult contemporary romance writer, a 40-year-old PhD student, and a new mom. So obviously I need a planning system that works with my chaotic lifestyle. But today I actually want to talk to you about planning personal curriculums during the Great Lock-in. The concept of the personal curriculum by Elizabeth Jean on TikTok is to create a specific learning module to pick up a new skill or to do a deep dive into something that's super interesting to you over the course of either a month or a semester. Elizabeth Jean does 1 month at a time, and then people like Brooke from Bound and Bookish do a semester-long curriculum. I have a few examples of some curriculums that I'll share later in the video, but I want to talk about how to design one, and then also how this is connected to the Great Lock-in. So I first learned about the Great Lock-in on TikTok as well, and it is something that is trending with Gen Z, and the idea is you have 4 months left for the rest of the year, and you are going to lock in to goals or specific ambitions that you have that you set for yourself in order to transform your life within a 4-month period. If you're interested in goal setting and how to do goal setting, I can definitely make a separate video. Just let me know in the comments. Your goals should be SMART goals, so specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive. The Great Lock-in is technically not a new concept. It's something that I've seen in corporate for decades. It's the idea of achieving these corporate goals or these financial goals. But for Gen Z, it's if you want to transform your life, if you want to get out of a rut that 2025 has put us in, then this is your chance to do so. Now, the way that personal course curriculums and the Great Lock-in are connected are people are trying to transform their lives in the last 4 months of the year by creating these course curriculums that can hopefully get them to where they want to be. I feel like I'm such a nerd because I'm so excited about this idea of a personal course curriculum. I have a ton of credentials that make me an expert on course curriculums. I have a law degree, 2 master's degrees. I'm halfway through my PhD program, and I'm also a graduate student advisor. I have taught creative writing classes, and I've taught literature classes, so I've designed syllabi on my own. And so I have a ton of different tips that I can share with you on developing your course curriculum. So if you're going to do this trend, if you're going to create a personal course curriculum, the first thing you need to do is actually design your course. The way you can design it is to first journal. Think about what are the things that you want to learn, what are the things about yourself that you feel you have a blank spot in your education or knowledge that you want to fill. What are some things that are super exciting to you? Because this should be about having fun as well. The other thing you can do is scroll through TikTok using the hashtag curriculum club, which is what I've been doing, and you can see what other people are pursuing, because that's always a really great way to be inspired. This concept has also been picked up by Substack, so there are a lot of people on Substack who are also designing and talking about developing personal course curriculums. Another tip is that you can look up college syllabi online and see what college professors have designed for their courses, especially if it's something that's pretty standard, like if you want to learn physics or astronomy or a social science. There are a ton of syllabi that are readily available for you to look at. Now, when you are designing your course curriculum, it's really important that you have mixed media that is part of your required reading. So not just books, but also think about podcasts, think about movies, plays, think about Substack articles that you want to read, magazines that you want to look at. You want to mix it up a little bit so that learning continues to feel engaging and fun and fresh. You also want to look at some of the resources that are available to you. So definitely check out your local library, which is the number one place to go. I know Elizabeth Jean, who is starting this trend, is definitely a library supporter. The other thing that you can do is check out your local community college to see what classes that they're offering to the public, especially if you have the funds to invest in something like that. There are also online courses, and if you don't have money to invest in a formal class, Harvard actually offers free online classes every month. They launch something new, and And Harvard is not the only university to do this, but they're definitely the most well known. So if you go to their website, you can check out what they have available. So once you've decided what course you want to do and some of the required reading or material for the course, as well as some of the activities that you have to engage in order to learn the course, it's always good to understand what your output is going to be. What sets a personal course curriculum aside from just a reading list or a learning opportunity is the output itself. So are you going to take an exam if you're taking a formal college course, or are you going to do a presentation? Are you going to run a marathon? Whatever it may be, decide on your output now. Some examples of what this might look like are if you're taking a floral arranging class at the end of your semester, pick a specific day and design 4 unique flower arrangements and deliver it to people you love. Or if you are taking a baking class, sit down in December and bake a bunch of holiday cookies and give that as a gift to friends and family. That could be part of your output as well. If you are learning more of a traditional skill, it's always fun to create a PowerPoint and invite friends over and ask them to sit and listen to you talk about something that you're really excited about. That's always a great opportunity to connect with other people who are doing personal course curriculums, so you can always switch and share your PowerPoint. If none of those options are appealing to you or exciting to you, you can also do like a TikTok video series, or you can make a YouTube video series, or you can also start a Substack, something that kind of demonstrates your mastery of the skill that you've learned. This output is super important because not only does it separate your course curriculum from just like a reading list, but it holds you accountable for learning something by the end of your semester or your month or whatever term that you've set for yourself. You also have to track your progress. This is something that is the most exciting part about personal course curriculums for me. Notion is my go-to. You can create tables, you can do all sorts of really fun stuff within Notion because it's super flexible to work with. There's a creator on TikTok, her name is Fei, who actually has Notion templates that you can download and use. So I would go check out her templates. If you want templates in Canva and you'd prefer to use Canva as an option, then you can also go to Bound and Bookish, who has templates available. If you are a paper planner person, I highly recommend using a folio system, something like Paper Republic. This is the Grand Voyager XL. It is sort of a little bit smaller than an A5 size, but like you can use A5 inserts. And then you can have individual notebooks per course that you are taking. And you can always switch out the notebooks when you're done, but this keeps track of all your notes that you learn about the class, or it can keep track of your reading progress, however you want to engage with the material that you're doing for your personal course curriculum. Also, if you're interested in your own Paper Republic planner, I do have a discount code down below. There are some other unique options that you can pursue when it comes to keeping track of your progress. You can create a personal newsletter group. So basically what that means is that like you'd sign up for something like Letterloop, which is basically a closed newsletter service. You can write up the things that you've learned and it goes to your closed group of friends, and your other friends who are part of this Letterloop group can also send you newsletters of things that they've learned. So it's always great to kind of stay connected in this particular way because it serves as an accountability group as well. There are also note-taking apps that are available online that you can also pursue, like Craft, which is one that people have been recommending quite frequently. Again, I personally use my Paper Republic folio system, but I also have Notion as my database. So Notion just basically serves for all of the stagnant information that I have to keep track of, and my Paper Republic folio is where I keep all of my dynamic information. So what are some deadlines? What are some milestones? What are some active notes on projects that are currently in progress? Just a note on generative AI, if you go to an AI system and ask it to create a course curriculum for you, you are literally defeating half the point of designing a personal course curriculum, because the most fun part about all of this is actually creating the lesson plans that you want to pursue in order to do this learning activity. So I personally just, like, generative AI is bad. Please don't use it. However, if you do need help, you can go to people like Lydia on TikTok, who is a librarian, and her entire job is to help people with designing course curriculums. So you can also check out Lydia. So this is how it all works together with the Great Lock-In. You're first going to pick a start date. Because we're already into September and you haven't done this already, you can always start October 1st, but you don't necessarily have to start on the 1st of the month. Just pick a day that works for you to begin. The second thing you want to do is to commit to a regular schedule. Try to carve out the same amount of time every week when it comes to learning. Are you usually doom scrolling in the morning or before bed? Like, those are the times that you can always switch out to do something with your personal course curriculum. And lastly, if you skip a day, it's fine. In college courses, you usually have 3 free passes, and that's usually the rule that I set for myself. I have 3 free passes. If I'm not feeling well, if things are happening that I'm just way too busy, like, those are the moments where I just take my freebie day and just move on with my life. I don't beat myself up over it. However, if you start making it a habit, then you're also defeating the purpose of trying to pick up a new skill. And lastly, I highly recommend picking up something that you enjoy doing, or you're interested in, or you feel is challenging but also engaging. I would avoid trying to pick up courses that you think you should know or should learn because other people are telling you that this is something that you should know. It's really hard to stay engaged if it's just not something that's interesting to you. So that leads me to the last part of the video, which is, what are some examples of personal course curriculums that people are using in order to improve their life or to engage in for the Great Lock-In? Okay, I have a list, so I'm going to refer to my list. There's personal finance, so stocks, understanding spending habits or debt consolidation, learning about mortgages, understanding the history of money. There's also psychology courses, so understanding specific traumas, coping mechanisms, cognitive behavioral therapy. You also have home ec, so sewing, knitting, crocheting, things like that. There's also art, or media sciences. So you have painting, pottery, floral design, but also graphic design, learning how to use something like Photoshop. Literature. This is so fun. So there's the classics, genre fiction, Cold War fiction, pulp fiction, narrative nonfiction. All of those are amazing. You can also learn languages. So conversational Spanish is a good one. There's also baking and cooking. I actually love this idea because I feel like there's so much you can do with a personal course curriculum with just cooking and baking. You can have an entire semester on sourdough. You can have an entire semester on one-pot meals. You can do a deep dive into cookies, which is something that I know Elizabeth Jean is doing. And then if you want to explore something like the social sciences, you can look up sociology, anthropology. You can specifically focus on like one part of like Egyptian mythology. There's also things like Eastern medicine and astrology and nutrition. So there are some courses that I've seen online as I've been scrolling that have just caught my eye that I wrote down in my commonplace journal because eventually I think I want to do something like this. So there's Tolkien, there's junk journaling, there's learning how to use Canva, there's learning how to do tarot cards, there's Gods and Villains as a course, Gossip Girl book to TV analysis, fashion design, understanding the history of the assassination of JFK, understanding Ophelia as a character, as an art concept, and prepping for the Taylor Swift album, and then also the ethics of AI. I know this was a lot of information on how to design your personal course curriculum, some examples of personal course curriculums, how to keep track of it, as well as information about the Great Lock-In. But I hope it was all helpful for you, and I'm so glad that this is like such a wholesome trend that we're pursuing. I feel it's such a great way to end the year. I personally am not going to do a lot of personal course curriculum work this semester specifically because I'm currently taking a class on Austen and taking a class on gender and queer theory. So that's actually like the curriculum time that I have available, especially if I want to also achieve my writing deadlines for the work that I have. But I'm just so thrilled that other people are doing this, and I hope to continue it next year for myself. If you are doing a personal course curriculum and you have an interesting topic that you've developed, I would love to know about it. So please leave a comment down below. And I really appreciate you watching. I will catch you in the next video.